If I could sit down with my 30-year-old self today, I wouldn't lecture her about money. I wouldn't tell her to work harder. I wouldn't tell her to chase bigger salary. I'd simply say, you're not behind, but you do need to start now. So at 30, I thought I had to have everything figured out: the career, the savings, the future. I honestly believe everyone else knew what they were doing except me. But after living in Canada for more than 20 years, I've learned something very different. Life doesn't come together all at once. Neither does money. Neither does retirement. You build all three slowly, one decision at a time. And looking back, there are a few things I really wish someone had told me sooner. Maybe you're 30, maybe on your 40s now, maybe you're 50 like me. The truth is simple. It's never too early to plan, and it's never too late to start. Welcome to Retirement Curious with V. If you're new here, this channel is about retirement planning and creating a life you can actually look forward to beyond work. Together, we'll explore practical retirement strategies and the mindset that helps us build future with more freedom and more choices. In this video, I'm going to share 5 things I wish someone had told me when I was in my 30s. Things about money, mindset, comparison, and the choices we actually have when it comes to work and retirement. If you've ever felt behind, overwhelmed, or unsure about your future, I hope this conversation gives you a little clarity and encouragement. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing I share here is personalized financial advice. Everything I talk about comes from my own experiences and the lessons I've learned. And of course, the research I've done along the way. So my hope is that something I share encourages you to become more curious and intentional about your own retirement journey. Now, let's have a conversation with my 30-year-old self. Lesson number 1. You don't have to have it all figured out. When I came here, I wasn't starting from scratch because I lacked education. I already had a university degree from the Philippines. I had work experience there. I had even worked in Taiwan for 3 years before moving here. But immigrating has a way of making you feel like you're starting over. Suddenly, you're learning to a new country. Then I started saying, sorry, more than necessary. If you're Canadian, you know. A new workplace culture, a new financial system, a new way of doing everything. But I love it all, and I started embracing my new home. Looking back, I spent so much energy worrying that I was behind people my age, behind people who grew up in Canada, behind people who already seemed to know how everything worked. I wish someone had told me this: you don't have to figure out your entire future this year. Just take one step at a time. Keep moving forward. Sometimes we stay stuck because I wish someone had told me this: you don't have to figure out your entire future this year. You take the next step, keep moving forward. Sometimes we stay stuck because we're waiting for the perfect plan. But progress usually comes from imperfect action. Looking back, I realized that every small step I took eventually became part of the much bigger journey. Lesson number 2, learn about money earlier. Here's something I wish I had taken more seriously. Learning about money. Not because I wanted to become rich overnight, but because I didn't realize how powerful small financial decisions could become over time. When I first arrived here in Canada, my focus was survival: finding work, paying bills, building a new life. retirement felt like something that belonged to older people. It wasn't something I thought about in my 20s or even in my 30s. I wish someone had explained compound growth, investing consistently, not because those things would have made me wealthy overnight, but because understanding them would have given me confidence. Knowledge reduces fear when you understand how money works. You stop guessing. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You begin making better decisions. Lesson number 3 for me: stop comparing yourself to everyone else. Comparison is exhausting, especially as an immigrant. You watch people buying homes, nice cars, building careers, taking vacations, saving for retirement. Meanwhile, you're simply trying to build a foundation. For years, I thought I was behind. Now I realized I wasn't behind. I was simply on a different path. Everyone starts somewhere different. Some people inherit advantages, others build everything themselves. Neither journey is better, they're simply different. The only comparison that really matters is this: am I making better decisions today than I did yesterday? That's enough. Now, lesson number 4 for me is I wish someone had told me I had options. Now, this might be the biggest lesson of all. For the longest time, I thought life only came with one script. You study, you get a job, you work hard, you work until you're 65. Then you can retire. That was the only version of adulthood I knew. Maybe it was because that's what our parents believed. Maybe it was because that's what society expected. And maybe then we didn't have the YouTube. We didn't have podcast. We didn't have thousands of people openly sharing different ways of living and planning for retirement. We learned from school, from books, from our parents. And the message was always the same. You work hard, one day you'll be rewarded. There is nothing wrong with working hard. In fact, that's exactly what many of us immigrants did. We worked hard because we wanted to build a better life. But what I didn't realize was that there were other possibilities. I didn't have to wait until 65 if I planned ahead. Maybe I could leave my full-time job at 55 or 60. Maybe I could work part-time later doing something I genuinely enjoy. Maybe retirement doesn't mean stopping work completely. Maybe it means having the freedom to choose the kind of work you do. That idea never crossed my mind when I was younger. Because if you had a good paying job, people thought you were crazy if you even talk about leaving. They'll say, why would you even quit a good job? Now today, I see it differently. The goal isn't to stop working. The goal is to have choices. To work because you want to, not because you have to. And that's what retirement planning can give you. Not just more money, more freedom, more options, more flexibility. And I wish someone had told me that when I was younger. Now, lesson number 5, don't wait for the perfect time. One of the biggest lessons life has taught me is this: there is never a perfect time. You never feel completely ready. There will always be another bill to pay, another responsibility, another reason for you to wait. But waiting has a cost. Even small steps matter. Saving a little, learning a little, investing and planning a little. Those small actions become habits, and habits become results. And you don't need to change your entire life overnight. You just need to become more intentional than you were yesterday. If I could say one final thing to my younger self, I'd say this: stop worrying so much about whether you're behind. You're building a life, and building a life takes time, especially when you're building in a different country. I am grateful for every lesson, even the difficult ones, because they've shaped me the person I am today. They've taught me that retirement isn't really the finish line. It's the reward for years of learning, growing, adapting, and making intentional choices. So, wherever you are today, whether you're just starting your career, raising a family, starting over, or beginning to think seriously about retirement, remember this: you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to keep moving forward. And maybe the most important lesson of all: retirement isn't about reaching a certain age. It's about creating the freedom to live life on your own terms. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. So if this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's one thing you wish someone had told you when you're younger? If you're enjoying this conversation and you're curious about retirement planning, financial confidence, and creating meaningful life beyond work, I'd love for you to join our community by subscribing to Retirement Curious with V. Until next time, stay curious and keep building the future you deserve.